Jinhao 650. It's a pretty interesting fountain pen coming from Jinhao that has been on the market for a couple of years now, as far as I know. I had my copy for more than 15 years, and as a fun thing, this was my first fountain pen that I bought online from China, and as such, it was the first Jinhao fountain pen I have bought. I guess I will be calling my copy the older version of this fountain pen. I don't know if they still are making this model actively, but I have noticed that there are a few variations of this pen out there, and there seems that some design elements have been updated, especially on the cap, clip, and as I'll show, the nib, feet, and section. Going quickly through the fountain pen, the overall shape of the pen is pretty much straight with a tapered down end for the barrel and domed, and pretty much a flat end finial for the cap. However, it does have a little bit of a ball at the top. Another thing that looks very nice on my copy, and this was changed on the newer models, it's the clip has a pretty much straight look. However, on the new model, I believe, or newer model, I believe they have like a shield, and I know a lot of people might not like that. And then some Chinese character that, I'll be honest, I have no idea what it means. And then we have a band at the end of the cap, and again some Chinese characters that I do not know what do they mean, so if you can translate that for me, I would kindly appreciate that, with some scroll marks that actually look nice on the band. And that's it. The cap, it's almost flush with the barrel. There's a little bit of a step down between cap and barrel, and I really love the barrel look. They have these mother of pearl rectangles that are inlaid in the pen and then covered with some type of shellac to make it nice and shiny, or resin, I assume. And then, as mentioned, tapers down just before the end of the barrel, where you actually can post the pen, and a domed end. Going back to the clip, it's actually functional clip, works very nicely. You can actually grab it with hands, you don't have to use your nails. A little bit stiff, but definitely works nicely. Doing the shirt test, a little bit hard to put it over, you'll actually have to lift it. But once it's over the cloth or shirt, slides in fairly nicely. This is what you see out of your pocket if you wear it in your pocket. Removing it is just as easy, doesn't really make any marks on the cloth. One thing to note, since this clip is fairly springy, I'm not sure it'll show on the camera, I'll try and zoom in there. But if you play with the clip a lot, you will leave marks on the pen, especially if you just let it snap back rather than slowly putting it down. The cap is a pull-push cap, and it's actually pretty tight in there. Like I said, I've been having this fountain pen for more than 15 years, and that cap still holds very well and makes quite the noise when it clicks in place. I have used it regularly in the past, not as much lately. Anyway, when you remove the cap, you will be greeted with a very interesting section, at least on this older copy. A very nice nib that I actually like more on this older copy than the newer versions. And the nib has some nice scroll marks. It has Jinhao inscribed on it. If you are left-handed, you'll be able to read the Jinhao properly. If you are right-handed, this will sit upside down. And underneath that, we have 18 KGP. I have no idea if it's actually gold-plated or carats plated, as I like to call it. However, as an interesting thing, comparing it with a nib that I know for, well, at least based on what is being advertised, I know that it's gold plated. The color seems to be very similar. What I like about this nib is that sits out of the section quite a lot, and as such makes the nib looks longer than it is. However, it is a number 6, not a number 8. The other thing that I like is the feed that comes with it. It's a nicer design and definitely a fresh breath of air compared with the generic feed that comes on majority of the number 6 fountain pens out there. Section is very interesting. A lot of people will recognize it as the Leonardo Carr section. However, keep in mind this came out about more than 15 years ago maybe, and this style, the section style was already out coming from Jinhao. I don't know who originally came up with this design for the section. However, interesting fact, I guess, there is a pretty big step up between the section and the barrel. It's actually quite girthy, but makes the pen well behaved somehow. I like it, and the way I hold it, it's kind of perfect for my hand, to be honest. And these mother of pearl rectangles are actually quite captivating. I don't think they're full mother of pearl. I'm pretty sure it's actual mother of pearl, comparing it with the other fountain pens that I have, and they are inlaid with the same material. The barrel, twist to open it, takes a little bit to open it. The good thing is that we have metal threads on metal threads, and my fountain pen did come with a converter and actual 5 cartridges in a wooden box. Anyway, bottom line is that converter is included with this fountain pen, and it's actually a very nice converter. I never had any issues. I forgot to show what's inside the cap. Having a look inside the cap, we do have a white inner liner plastic that helps with capping the pen, and it's actually pretty straightforward. Never had an issue, never broke on me, and you can actually still see some glue marks on the side just where the inner cap was glued. And now going back to the barrel, having a look inside the barrel, we see basically that we have metal insert for the threads, which I assume it's brass, and then I assume again it's a brass tube that goes all the way to the end of the barrel. And at the end, as a fun fact, we have a plastic insert. I don't know if that's there to dampen the converter and not make any noises in there, or if it's just for the end finial and that's how it's built and glued in place. In hand, the fountain pen feels actually pretty good. It fits me quite surprisingly well. I thought that maybe that section I'm not going to enjoy that much, but it turns out I actually like it. The way I hold the pen, it's pretty much the barrel kind of sits cradle into my finger. It's almost like my finger kind of hugs it. And balance-wise, it's actually pretty good, pretty much in the middle of the pen, which it's decent, I would say. And lengthwise, the way I hold it, it's a little bit at the limit for me. However, it's a good fit for my hand. If for whatever reason you have larger hands than mine, the pen does post, however, makes it extremely top heavy. And I'm not sure if a lot of people will like it. Personally, I don't like using it posted. It's too top heavy. To keep it comfortable for writing, I will have to hold it somewhere in here. And yeah, I don't really like it. If you have smaller hands, you'll definitely hate this. However, like I said, for larger hands that I have. It does post, and actually it's quite secure in place, but it definitely makes it for a very lengthy and imposing fountain pen. And in the end, this is the fountain pen. Things to mention, I guess. Again, just to highlight the differences between the older copy and the newer copy. The old copy, the finials, as far as I've seen, it's different. Clip is definitely different. I much like the clip of this fountain pen compared with the newer ones. The nib and feed are inside a nib unit that is non-removable. It's actually glued in place. Most probably, I would assume, with all the newer designs from Jinhao, on the newer version, this will probably be removed. If I ever get a newer copy, once my hiatus is done, I will definitely come back and I can compare both of them just to see how they are and how it evolved over time. Other than that, I believe that's about it. Overall, I do like the pen. It feels really nice in hand. I used it quite extensively back in the day when I bought it. Not so much over the couple of past years because unfortunately my collection has grew. However, tonight I'm excited to go back to it, do a writing sample, and hopefully I'll be able to get a nice sketch with it. For today's ink, I will be using this Monteverde Black Ash ink, and hopefully will work well with this fountain pen. As I mentioned, I haven't used it for a while, so let's see if I remember how this nib works. So this is Jinhao 650 older version fountain pen. I did forget how this nib feel. It's actually really smooth. I like it. In all honesty, I don't remember if I worked on it previously. Probably not. Reverse seems to work as well, a little bit finer and a little bit drier, but for drawing should be perfect. I like it actually. Hopefully this nib will work just as good on the Fabriano paper that I have. Alright, so I do like the nib. I forgot how it felt, I'll be honest. And actually feels really nice, really smooth. Right now I'm barely touching the paper just to see what kind of line it gives. And it fades out nicely, I like it. I never draw or sketched with this nib, so I'm not sure how it's actually going to perform. But I hope it will work. It seems to have a little bit of character, but I guess the ink helps as well. And I did discover that if you press a little bit, you do get very slight line variation. And I'm not really pressing that hard. I wouldn't press more than this though. It's like it's perfect. Yeah, so I'm excited. Let's see how this nib will work on a Fabriano paper, and especially with this ink, and hopefully we'll have some fun. So I guess a little bit of disclaimer, it's in place. Today it's about 3 days later, and I'm doing another drawing with the Jinhao 650. The one that I did in the night when I recorded the review did not turn out that great. I just, for whatever reasons, did not really feel it. I stuck with it in the hope that I was going to turn it around, but that did not happen. It felt lifeless for whatever reason and shaky. Was not that happy about how the lines turned out in the end, so it kind of bothered me a little bit. And it bothered me to the point where I decided to just do another one. So here we are, 3 days later, being inspired again by the micro world and some slide mold. I'm also showing the previous drawing in the left corner, playing a little bit faster than the one I'm doing now, just so you can see the difference between them. I will also be posting the final scans on my Instagram account if you're curious. Bottom line, the fountain pen performed great on the Fabriano paper. I was actually quite happy about how well it was working. Flow was perfect and very easy to control, and probably that is one of the reasons why I was a little bit disappointed by the end result and wanted to do a little bit better if possible. In the end, I'll let you decide how much you like it. I also ended up using two other fountain pens on the last drawing with different things. The previous Jinhao X159 that I reviewed still had some Yamabudo ink in it, and a cheap Winsung 7363 that I had it filled with the Bamni blue-black ink. As a fun fact, this fountain pen actually came with one of the 500 milliliters ink bottle that I got from AliExpress. Anyway, what do I like about the Jinhao 650? The thing that attracted me the most on this fountain pen was the mother of pearl rectangle inserts. I believe there is a specific name for this technique, but it escapes my mind right now. And when I received it and I looked at it more closely, I also liked the design of the clip that it has, and the design of the nib, and that intriguing feed. Definitely standing nicely apart from the generic number 6 feeds that seems to be used by pretty much any fountain pen maker out there. So in the end, smooth nib, a good size and balance, unposted for my hand, and converter included. Nice design overall, and yeah, it's kind of hard to dislike anything about this fountain pen, in my perspective at least. And finally, I guess as additional kind of a cool things that were included and I liked, a really nice wooden box, which unfortunately I did not keep, and actually 5 additional ink cartridges in addition to the converter that it was included. What I don't like about it, the only thing that stands out to me is that posting it's a little bit of an issue and makes the pen very top heavy. On this older version, you also have to deal with the fact that you do not have a nib unit. It's glued into place, but you can still remove the nib and feed by pulling them out of the section for cleaning if needed. So overall, I like the fountain pen and I have no issues recommending it, at least this older version. I assume that the newer version is even better, assuming you don't get a lemon or something. Personally, I give it thumbs up, and if I ever get a newer version, I will come back and I will compare the two of them if anyone is interested. Anyway, I guess that's another wrap. If you have any other questions, please leave a comment below, and I will definitely try my best and get to it as soon as I can. Thank you for joining me today. Hope I'll see you next time, and I wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, whatever you are. Take care. Bye.